Are we live? It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don One. Welcome to another live stream, combination live stream. Some of you people are going to watch this when the live stream is uploaded today. How y'all doing? I'm doing swell. Life is good. We got a jam-packed show. We're going to be talking about the Ben Simmons drama with the with the Philadelphia 76ers and the media and Doc Rivers and the Philadelphia 76ers organization. We're also going to be talking about the NBA opening night. We're going to be talking about the Los Angeles Lakers and the Golden State Warriors, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Brooklyn Nets game last night. We're also going to be talking about the top 75. We got some NBA news and notes that we can elaborate into. And we're also going to be doing my review on the Titans. I just caught up on season 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to be talking about that. And we're also going to be talking about the upcoming Titans season 4. All right. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it, okay? How y'all living? I'm living swell, all right? First thing we're going to be talking about is the saga that's going on with Ben Simmons. Apparently, Ben Simmons is going to make life difficult for the Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid, and Doc Rivers. So, in case you've been living under a rock, allow a brother to explain. Ben Simmons is going to be a nightmare for Doc Rivers. They had practice. Ben Simmons wasn't really cooperating in practice. He was, wearing a jumpsuit, which which is kind of unusual, but they don't, that's fine. And he had his phone in his pocket as they was running plays. Ben Simmons was basically on his phone or demonstrating that he was going to be on his phone. Doc Rivers asked him to be in certain plays. Ben Simmons was being very irritable to Doc Rivers, and then finally Doc Rivers saw enough or had enough and told Ben Simmons to leave the practice court, and he's going to be suspended for 1 day. 1 day of practice, really. He's still on schedule to play in the regular season with the Philadelphia 76ers. So, a lot of people saying, all right, that'll show Ben Simmons, talking about the Philadelphia 76ers organization. Don't give in to Ben Simmons. We're going to make a statement for anybody out there that wants to be a distraction and is not going to put team first, yada, yada, yada. And then you got the other side of people saying, well, maybe, Ben Simmons is wrong. Maybe the Philadelphia 76ers are wrong. Here's my thing. And this is a pure game of chicken. Who's going to blink first? Here's my thing about all this. Ultimately, how is this working for either Ben Simmons or the Philadelphia 76ers? How is this going to work? How you can say we got a W in this? How does this equate to the Philadelphia 76ers as a basketball unit to be successful this year? And I've said this in numerous videos. The Philadelphia 76ers, even with Ben Simmons, they're still not better than the Brooklyn Nets. They're still not better than the Miami Heat. They're going to have competition with the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls did some off-season changes. Got a lot of players on that roster that's going to that's going to compete and hopefully get the Chicago Bulls to the promised land, which is at least a playoff spot, in my opinion. I think Indiana is looking good. I think that's going to be competition for the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm not saying they're going to beat the Philadelphia 76ers, but that is competition. The New York Knickerbockers, what they did last year, all I can see is them possibly building upon that. And yes, they're going to be competition of thorn in the Philadelphia 76ers side. It just seems like everyone on the east side of things that were contending got better. Even though Kyrie Irving is not with the Brooklyn Nets, there's a strong possibility that he's going to return this season. And there's also another strong possibility of the Brooklyn Nets either getting better by there's still a trade. They could possibly trade Kyrie Irving and get some more pieces, or Kyrie Irving could return, or they can build on top of what they have during the season. Either way, they have some type of flexibility to build on what they have with the Brooklyn Nets. We're gonna get on them. We're gonna get more onto that a little bit later. But you get the gist of where I'm going with this conversation. The NBA East, it may not be the beast, but it's definitely not the least. They have some. There's a lot of teams that are either better than the Philadelphia 76ers or going to contend with the Philadelphia 76ers. So even with Ben Simmons, the struggle is going to be real for the Philadelphia 76ers. They're not the best talented team. They're not the best experienced team. I mean, they're sort of in the middle, if you want to be fair and be honest with them. I think, and even if they can get to the point of the NBA Finals, which is going to be a stretch for them, there's teams in the West that's even going to contend with the Philadelphia 76ers in the regular season and the postseason. The Phoenix Suns have something to say. The Golden State Warriors look intriguing. The Los Angeles Lakers, even though they lost last night, that's going to be a tough out. There are numerous teams in the West that could contend with the Philadelphia 76ers. And I forgot the Atlanta Hawks. Ice Train them boys is also going to make it difficult for the Philadelphia 76ers. So even with Ben Simmons, their troubles are not behind them. And now you're talking about trading Ben Simmons for some contending pieces to ultimately make the roster better. I feel like Daryl Morey was already had his hands full when they was in the thought process of keeping Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and he said he was going to build on top of that. Now you're going to have to get talent and players that's going to build on. If you're going to trade Ben Simmons, you're going to trade Ben Simmons for some pieces. At the end of the day, you're going to trade Ben Simmons for some pieces. And in my opinion, they are a long way to go as far as getting talent there. Even with Ben Simmons. I got a little distracted there, y'all. Sorry about that. Trying to turn the heat up. I don't know. Okay. Trying to, anyway, to even get Ben Simmons. So you're trying to basically figure out scenarios where if you're definitely going to trade Ben Simmons. What can you get in return for Ben Simmons? You're trying to get not 90% on the dollar for Ben Simmons, and it's hard to do that or orchestrate a trade like that when the rest of the league knows that Ben Simmons does not want to be there. He's making your life a living nightmare by keeping Ben Simmons with the Philadelphia 76ers. Doc Rivers, if he had a choice, if you put him under a lie detector test, he would choose not continuing to coach Ben Simmons. And Doc Rivers, who has a track record of controversy, or players building player relationships with a lot of players. Remember, Doc Rivers was the one that refused for Tim Duncan to fly his wife when there was a possibility of them getting Tim Duncan to the Orlando Magic when he was a free agent. And that left a thorn on the side of Tim Duncan. He stayed with the San Antonio Spurs, and the rest, they say, was history. Then Doc Rivers was the coach of the Los Angeles Clippers, could not get DeAndre Jordan, Chris Paul, or Blake Griffin on the same page, and that crashed and burned. His relationship with Chris Paul is not pleasing. Chris Paul does not, at that particular time, did not have a lot of nice things to say to Doc Rivers. He left, went elsewhere. Doc Rivers rebuilt that team again without, with the mindset of no stars allowed. Had a bunch of players, uh, that were not, nowhere near stars, but were contributing players, and got that team to the playoffs and an early exit. Then the Philadelphia 76ers, after new ownership, decided a change was in order. They got Kawhi Leonard from free agency. Then they traded for Paul George, and it was Kawhi Leonard and Paul George versus the remaining players that Doc Rivers took to the playoffs, and they got bounced out early. That team, that was a living nightmare. He could not get those two forces to work as one, and that ultimately got Doc Rivers up out of there too. Now Doc Rivers is the coach of the Philadelphia 76ers, and now there's controversy in Philadelphia. Now the Philadelphia 76ers, the struggle is real with those guys, and Ben Simmons, uh, uh, Rich Paul, Doc Rivers, the front office. It's a bad relationship. They want to leave the Philadelphia 76ers. When I mean they, Ben Simmons and Rich Paul, because the Philadelphia 76ers have not been honest with Ben Simmons. Doc Rivers' comments the last postseason last year was not that pleasing to Ben Simmons, and Ben Simmons said, "You know what? Enough's enough. I've been in trade rumors with this team. Uh, my future is uncertain with this team. Obviously, this team is not mine no more. I'm not a co on this team. It's Joel Embiid or bust. I have worked my tail off for this team. And for all that, I get this controversy. I get this dark cloud over my head. And I'm the reason why the team is struggling." When it's a combination of a lot of things with the Philadelphia 76ers. But yes, Ben Simmons, you should contribute in the failures of the Philadelphia 76ers. But anyway, Doc Rivers could not get that to work so far. He's only been with Philadelphia a full calendar basketball season last year and the start of this year. And if this continues, there's going to be at the end of this season, something's going to have to change. Either Ben Simmons get traded, or he should be already traded, in my opinion, if you don't have that much faith in him, or you're going to have to find you yet again another coach. Ben Simmons is definitely going to get traded. The latest rumor I've heard was Ben Simmons possibly going to the Portland Trail Blazers. They got a handful of players plus draft picks. Now Dame Lillard is not going to be part of this trade, so apparently they're going to get Ben Simmons and Damian Lillard uh, on the same roster. That's going to make Big Dollar Dame happy. It may make Ben Simmons happy. I've told you guys numerous times in a bunch of videos, a bunch of posts, that ultimately Ben Simmons wants to go out west. Go west, young man. He wants to play in California. He really doesn't care. It really doesn't matter to him what California team it is. It can be Sacramento. It can be the Lakers, the Clippers, or it can be the Golden State Warriors. Now, out of those those four possibilities, Sacramento and the Golden State Warriors is intriguing. Now, do they have the players that the Philadelphia 76ers won't? No, but they will get players. Do they have draft picks the Philadelphia 76ers may possibly won't? And they can finagle those picks into building on top of the roster, or just keeping those picks? Maybe, possibility. But that trade will be basically a big W for Ben Simmons. And it could be possibly a W down the road. I explain in numerous videos. Y'all can go check those videos out. I'm not going to go into full details about my theory on either Sacramento or Golden State Warriors. Either of those teams will be perfect for Ben Simmons, because that's where he really wants to go. He's a California guy. He likes the California lifestyle. He loves the California women. He's just a California guy. I wish they can all be California girls. That's what Ben Simmons is pretty much theoretically saying. He really fits better with the Golden State Warriors. If they and obviously they're going to keep Klay Thompson. They're going to keep Steph Curry. They're going to keep Draymond Green. I think he's going to work a little bit harder to have a decent relationship with Draymond Green. Draymond Green is the type of individual that could, if you're effing up, he's that type of individual that is not going to bite his tongue. He's going to say what's on his mind. But other than that, I think this will be a great spot for Ben Simmons. He can exercise his demons there. I think he'll be around a cast of players that will contribute to him as far as developing him to get those past demons out of him. And it fits his talent with their talent. He's a facilitator. If I'm saying facilitator, or he'll be a facilitator for the Golden State Warriors. Their shooting team. He's a guy that loves to assist. The combination is like Twitch bars. Peanut butter on the outside, chocolate on the inside. Great combination. And I think it'd be a perfect combination for Ben Simmons and the Golden State Warriors. However, the Golden State Warriors, what they have to offer to the Philadelphia 76ers is not going to contribute to the team right now, but later on down the road, possibly. Obviously, the Golden State Warriors are going to have to give up their draft pick and this be his second stint with the Golden State Warriors. He's going to be gone. The 2 draft picks from this year NBA draft that were labeled uh, projects that the Golden State Warriors are going to have to develop, and it's going to be maybe 2 years down the road until we can see something of them. Obviously, the Golden State Warriors are going to have to let those 2 young talents go, and pretty much their future uh, picks of the Golden State Warriors. They're not going to have any future picks. So they're going to go fully in on what they have on their roster as of right now. You know, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, they're not getting younger. They're getting older. And how many more years you're going to have with that combination? And maybe Ben Simmons will actually get better. Now, there was a lot of people thought that Ben Simmons could be like the next LeBron, but he had to work on his free throw game. He also had to work, and this is when he got drafted to the Philadelphia 76ers. He had to work on his perimeter game, his 3-point game. I felt like he worked, on some of it. I just don't think he's really been pushed or going into the gym in the off season to work on the things that he's weak on. And he's got a lot of demons in his head, particularly with the Philadelphia 76ers media, as well as his inability to be contributing on the perimeter as well as the 3-point line. That's something that we all have been talking about for 3 years now, and it hasn't gotten better for Ben Simmons. I feel like when Ben Simmons is around a bunch of shooters, it's contagious, and it's the right shooters that he's going to be surrounded by. Being surrounded by Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, being around those guys as well as Steve Kerr is an addiction, and ultimately Ben Simmons is going to get better around the perimeter and better around the 3-point line. You would think, if he gets traded to the Golden State Warriors. But like I said, this is just all talk that's down at the bottom of the river. We don't really know where he's going to get traded to. But the Philadelphia 76ers has made it known that if they do trade him, they're going to trade him somewhere where they are going to instantly get better. Not a year or 2 years down the road getting better. Instantly get better. I just don't see any takers for that combination of talent. I see 2 teams and 2 teams only, in my opinion. Well, possibly 3 teams. 2 teams are going to be out west, and the Philadelphia 76ers would love to just send him out west so they don't have to see him in the east. And it's Golden State. It's Golden State, Sacramento, and Portland. That's the 3 teams out west. And the one team I can possibly see out east is the Indiana Pacers. They would love to trade him to Indiana, but the only problem to that theory is seeing him on a regular basis on the east side of things. And typically when trades are negotiating or processing, normally it's going to be a player involving a player. That player is going to be on the opposite side of the conference. And Ben Simmons is definitely going to be going out west. All right. Now, teams that are on the horizon that you can possibly hear, or possibly the Philadelphia 76ers are going to be intriguing as far as the trade goes, is the Houston Rockets. I predicted that as well. So, but do the Houston Rockets have enough? That would be a perfect landing spot. The Philadelphia 76ers would love to move him there, but what are they going to get in return? Now, there's been reports of John Wall not happy there. Would they take John Wall and his salary plus a lot of picks? Would they do that? I don't think so. But, those are the possibilities. And I'm going to wrap up as the world turns, or as the Ben Simmons Philadelphia 76ers situation turns from bad to worse. Okay. So moving on. NBA opening night. NBA is fantastic. NBA opening night featured 2 games last night. I watched both games. I watched the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors, and I watched Milwaukee and the Brooklyn Nets. Keep everything in perspective. This is the early stretch run of NBA opening night. And what you're gonna be seeing from these teams for the next 10 or 20 games is not ultimately the makeup of this team. You're gonna see a lot of teams go into winning streaks, and people are gonna instantly say, oh, they're gonna be the team to beat in the regular season. They are a threat for the postseason. You're gonna see a lot of teams lose a handful of games. Contending teams. And people are going to say the following: it's not working out. They need to get rid of the coach. They should have never gotten those players. They should be trading those players. You're going to be hearing that theory. You're also going to be hearing theories of, well, that team and that roster was old anyway. They should have been rebuilding from the word go. You're going to be hearing stuff like that. Excuse me. Let me put a pause button on. Okay, back. After looking at a small sample size of the NBA season. So let's talk about first the Warriors and the Lakers. What can you take from this game? And this is what I'm taking from this game. Not necessarily I'm looking at the win-loss column, but I'm really looking at the players that were on the roster, was on the floor, and who the teams have for the roster. I feel like the Lakers are still trying to work this unusual project that they have at their disposal at the bottom of their at these players that they done signed in the offseason, like Dwight Howard, like JaVale McGee with the Lakers. I don't think he's with the Lakers, but anyway, Carmelo Anthony. I feel like the main pieces, which is Carmelo Anthony, Rondo, and I'm gonna explain a little bit later why I feel like Rondo is a major piece. Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook. I feel like, and Carmelo Anthony. If I didn't say Carmelo Anthony name, I feel like, and LeBron. Those pieces are going to be pieces that it's going to take time for it to work. Those names I mentioned, a lot of them are going to have to make sacrifices in order for this to work. And when I look at the Lakers roster, well, the Lakers makeup of their roster, it reminds me of, remember when LeBron went back to Cleveland, and the Cleveland organization was, LeBron. It was a year where LeBron was apparently playing 2K and said, you know what? These guys worked well with me on NBA 2K. Let's get these guys to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Cleveland Cavaliers gave up so much to get these guys. And I'm not talking about when it was LeBron, Kyrie, and I forgot the other guy that they got from Minnesota. I know it's Kevin. Anyway, I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the other guys that they got. They got Rose. They got Dwayne Wade. They got Green. They had a bunch of unusual parts that they was trying to blend with the parts that they already had with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And that year, they even got Isaiah Thomas. And that year was a bad year for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They tried to experiment. It did not work in preseason. It did not work in the beginning stages of the regular season. And when it got closer to the trade deadline, they had to trade away a lot of those players. They even traded away Dwayne Wade. And the Dwayne Wade that they got was the later stage Dwayne Wade. So that was proven a nightmare, and the Cleveland Cavaliers had they replaced those players with players that were younger but fit better with LeBron. Okay. And then that season went from bad to worse to good in a matter of an instant. They tried this Frankenstein of an experiment that LeBron James wanted. It crashed and burned. They got rid of those players, and they had a very productive season that year. They went into the postseason. That's a huge, plus for the Cleveland Cavaliers as well as LeBron James. But it reminds me of that when I hear about these names that the Lakers got, it harbors me back to when the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James thought, let's just get all the players that he played in. I'm not saying he was playing 2K and he thought, well, if these players fit well in a video game, they should be able to fit in real life. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is a lot of those players, LeBron James, were friends of. A lot of those players that they signed really didn't ultimately fit well, blended well with LeBron James. So, or with the team, or LeBron James fitting well with those players. But it reminded me of that particular time when I hear about the Lakers and they got Russell Westbrook, they got Carmelo Anthony, they got Rondo. Now pieces such as Dwight Howard, that he was part of their championship team when they had it in the bubble, so he already knows how to work well with these other guys. I feel like just those pieces alone, somebody's going to have to take a major sacrifice. Now, LeBron James has already given the keys to Russell Westbrook. He wants him to run the point. And the dilemma between Russell Westbrook and Rondo, do Rondo feel like he still got it? Do Rondo feels like he should be a starter? Now, Rondo got the big money from the Atlanta Hawks. It was he didn't blend or fit well with the Hawks, and you started seeing cracks of LeBron. I mean, Rondo was not the same Rondo that you saw with the Lakers when they got their ring in that bubble. You started seeing cracks in the armor. And then he got traded from the Hawks to the Clippers. Kawhi and them thought that this was going to be very beneficial to them. I don't know why I keep thinking of Stephen A. Smith when I say this. Skip Bayless thought that this was going to work for the Clippers, and it didn't. And that experiment proved unsuccessful. He couldn't even get on the He couldn't even get in the starting lineup or even on the roster. Even when Kawhi Leonard went down, he couldn't get back on the roster. And then there was rumors and rumblings that him and Kawhi did not get along. So he's a free agent. And now the Lakers got him. And the Lakers felt like, him and Dwight Howard were huge pieces to the puzzle on why they won the championship in the bubble, which, I kind of co-signed to that. But that was like a couple of years ago, and this is now. And the Rondo that you're getting now versus the Rondo a couple of years ago are two different Rondos. Now I feel like ultimately Rondo had a lot of setbacks in these recent 2 years, and it humbled him. And he knows that he's not the same Rondo he once was 2, 3, 4 years ago. So Rondo is just, he knows he's just another guy. He's going to help the team. He still has a high IQ. It's almost like the Jared Dudley experiment, where Jared Dudley helped the Lakers not with his playing, but with his experience and his knowledge and how he can get people to come together. I think Jared Dudley has a lot of interesting qualifications that someday he might. He is a head coach for. I don't know why I say someday. He is a head coach for Jason Kidd and the Dallas Mavericks. Hold on one second. Had to sneeze. So yeah, that's Jared Dudley is a coach for is a coach for the Dallas Mavericks, and I feel like Rondo is going to be their Jared Dudley for the Lakers. He's going to be more so. He's more so there for his high IQ and how things process and work on the court, and his experience, and he's going to be more of a players type coach. So that's where you're going to see him ultimately shine. Now, the three factors I see how ultimately you're going to have to figure out how to get these parts to work. Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook, those are new additions, and Anthony Davis and LeBron James. LeBron James is chasing the Kareem record. So, and he's also wanting to win a championship. I feel like you can multitask. You can do two things at once. I'm not hating on LeBron James because he wants to chase after the Kareem record. I don't have no issues with that. However, you have two ISO players that desperately seeking Susan needs the ball to be very successful for your team. Carmelo Anthony, uh, on a small scale of things, and Russell Westbrook on a larger scale of things. Russell Westbrook has this huge chip on his shoulder, wanting to prove to the world that they're wrong about him, that he can contribute to a championship team, that he can just be himself and still win the chip, still win the ring. He doesn't have to necessarily change any nuances about him, because he knows if he changes a lot about him, then what his critics were saying about him was true. Russell Westbrook is a tremendous, talented individual that does extraordinary things with the ball, but you can't win having him on your roster. I feel like Russell Westbrook is going to change somewhat, but I feel like ultimately he's still going to be the same Russell Westbrook. And he needs the ball. He's an ISO player. He can't do anything else great without the ball. That's not no slight at Russell Westbrook. That's just being truthfully honest about Russell Westbrook. He needs the ball. You need to keep the ball with him, and he can do extraordinary things with that ball. And he can also do a lot of bad things with the ball. Their turnover margin is still high. The decisions that he make are still questionable, and they're not going to get better anytime soon. Even if you got Rondo. So I feel like they're winning I feel like the way how they were strategizing this was if LeBron gets 30, if Anthony Davis gets 30, or anything over 20, they feel like they're going to be able to win a lot of games that way, and that's what happened. Those two guys got got the points, but it didn't equal to them in the win column. They still are a turnover machine, and they're still trying to figure this thing out, how to make these pieces work and fit. So they have a long road ahead of them if people think for a second that this is going to be this is going to be like instant mashed potatoes, quick, fast, in a hurry. They got a long way to go to get this thing together, and the process is not finished. It's not concrete. And luckily, the NBA season is a long season. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So we're gonna have to wait and see how this develops out. But as of right now, it's the beginning stages of when LeBron was in Cleveland and they got Dwayne Wade and all these other pieces, and they're trying to make it work and fit. And ultimately, it was a nightmare for the Cleveland Cavaliers organization and LeBron. And the only way they got successful is by getting rid of those pieces that they picked up in free agency. And this is the beginning stages of that. Yes, it's only one game. We should just, I should just calm down. It's just only one game. They got more to come, and this thing could get better or it could get worse. Okay, so let's go into the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks. And to me, this game was similar to their series last year. This is the same series where Kyrie Irving got injured. Uh, James Harden was still injured. Then he got back in, and when I mean not just this series, but just the whole playoff series in general. And James Harden said some unusual comments about the Greek Freak, saying that he's more talented, more skillful than the Greek Freak. I feel like he's more skillful than the Greek Freak because James Harden can do a lot of other things to the ball that the Greek Freak, as of right now, just cannot do. But the Greek Freak is still a locomotive. He's still a beast down low. But when he can get his other repertoire going, which is his being more consistent on the perimeter side of things, his 3-point, he's got to find that touch. He may not ever find that touch, but if he can ever get that going, he's going to be an unstoppable player for years to come. Well, anyway, that game, same results. Bucks won. And like I said earlier, you can't really go by what you see in the win-loss column and say, okay, well, this team is going to be the team that's going to be contending for the championship. And this team, they then lost 2 games. The struggle's going to be real for this team. Like I said, but if you look beyond the win-loss record, there was a lot of things the Brooklyn Nets did well, but still they need Kyrie Irving. That's what this game means. And they need to make a decision on Kyrie Irving. Are they going to just wait for Kyrie Irving to finally just give this up and just take the vaccine, or are they going to wait for Kyrie Irving? Hopefully, they're going to. New York is getting a new mayor, so new mayor means new. Maybe this mandate being lifted, and new direction, and if they lift this mandate in the city of New York, then Kyrie Irving is going to come to the team with open arms without taking the vaccine. However, if they don't get a new mayor, or if they do get a new mayor that says, you know what, we're going to keep the mandate, then Kyrie Irving's got decisions. What are you going to do, Kyrie Irving? Are you going to be so pig-headed where you're going to just missed the whole regular season just to prove a point? Is this the foothill you're willing to die on? Yes, we all have choices. Okay, that's what makes America great. But you have the potential of winning a ring. Not only winning a ring, but starting the evolution of a dynasty in Brooklyn. You got James Harden, you got the Durantula, Kevin Durant, and all you got to do is just show up and contribute. And you can prove a point to the rest of the league that Kyrie Irving is that guy. He's that guy. He's that special. You can prove to all your doubters that Kyrie Irving is a difference maker. But like I said in a video a couple of weeks ago, well, I think it was last week, I feel like basketball is really not that important to Kyrie Irving. And I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm not hating on Kyrie Irving. I think Kyrie Irving should do whatever the hell he wants to do. I feel like don't fake it till you make it. Be real with yourself. And Kyrie Irving has demonstrated that basketball is just not numero uno in his priority list. It's just not. And that's fine. Have no issues with it. Other people may have an issue with it, but I don't have an issue with it. Kyrie Irving walks to his own beat, to his own drum. And the Brooklyn Nets knew fully darn well what they were getting with Kyrie Irving. Kevin Durant knows fully well what he was going to get out of Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving has demonstrated numerous times that Kyrie Irving is going to do what Kyrie Irving wants to do. And everyone knew fully darn well what they was going to get out of Kyrie Irving. So there's no surprise why Kyrie Irving is what Kyrie Irving is doing right now. He has demonstrated it throughout his whole entire career. He's always that guy that's going to be bucking the system. He's a system bucker. He's an habitual line stepper. That's what Kyrie Irving is, ultimately. When Kyrie Irving was with Cleveland, he bucked the system with Cleveland. He had issues with LeBron. He had issues with the organization. He said, quote, I want my own team. I thought when you drafted me, guys, this was going to be my team. This was my team for a couple of years, and then you guys signed LeBron James in the offseason. Now it's his team. Now I'm taking a back seat. Now I'm not Batman. I'm just Robin. You know what? I don't like this. I want trade me to a team where I can be the man. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Y'all remember that song? So Kyrie Irving went to Boston. He was his own man, his own team. His coach was Brad Daugherty. Had talent around him. Jason Tatum. Had talent all around him. Went to the playoffs with that talent. The next following year got injured. Brad Daugherty and those guys made it all the way to the Eastern Conference without Kyrie Irving and got beat by LeBron James. That was the same year when I feel like that was the same year or maybe a year after the Cleveland Cavaliers tried to experiment and was getting a whole bunch of players that LeBron wanted, and that experiment proved failure. So the Cleveland Cavaliers had to shuffle the decks once again. I believe that was the same year. And LeBron beat the Boston Celtics, that young group, that young core, and Brad Daugherty. Is his name Brad Daugherty? The coach for the Boston Celtics. Well, he was the coach of the Boston Celtics. Now he's in the front office. Brad Stevenson. Can I get Brad? Why do I keep saying Brad Daugherty? Brad Stevenson. My bad. My bad. Any fans of Brad Stevenson or Brad Stevenson is listening, my bad. Okay. I didn't think it was going to be a long show. This is going to be an extremely long show. This might go the distance, folks. Okay. Bear with a brother. All right. So they get, so when Kyrie Irving comes back, the pieces are still there. Brad Stevenson, they still have a talented squad with a healthy Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving couldn't even get them out of the opening rounds of the playoffs. Then everybody started questioning, wait a minute, a year ago, without Kyrie Irving, this team went to the Eastern Conference. They still have the same pieces. It's Brad Stevenson there, Jason Tatum there. They still had talented pieces. They still have those same pieces. And then with an addition of Kyrie Irving, we was hoping that they was going to make it to the finals. And they couldn't even get out of their way in the playoffs, in the opening rounds of the playoffs. What was the contributing factor? Wait a minute. Everybody was there with the addition of Kyrie Irving. Oh, there it is. Kyrie Irving. So Kyrie Irving had issues with the media. He did not like what the media says, on top of the other things that escalated to the point where Kyrie Irving left Cleveland. He called Cleveland racist, which, they have had. There's racism everywhere, folks. But I feel like, the what has been transpiring in Boston, in that area, a lot of NBA players has notoriously said that's out of all the teams to play for, that's one thing you're going to have to experience, and you see its ugly face is in Boston, how racist it is. But keep in mind, folks, Kyrie Irving dad used to play in Boston. This is your third year in Boston, and you just now saying that it's racist over there. And he probably have been encountered with a lot of racist incidents in Boston. But I feel like it's more so to the fact that Kyrie Irving, found out real fast that it's easy to say I want to be the man, but to accept that role, you also have to accept the responsibilities, the finger pointing, the blaming, the constant critique about you, your game, and your leadership qualities. And I felt like that was just too much for Kyrie Irving, and Kyrie Irving left Boston. He decided to himself, I was a better Robin than I was ever a Batman, and went and joined forces with Kevin Durant. By him joining forces with Kevin Durant, he knew Kevin Durant was going to be the man. And he also knew in the back of his mind, by joining Kevin Durant, basically, if he would have just stayed in Cleveland with LeBron James, which, retrospect, he knew LeBron was not going to be with that team much longer. So why in the hell I'm going to sign a long-term extension with the Cleveland Cavaliers only for LeBron to leave me high and dry with a bunch of parts that fit well with LeBron, but fits terrible with me that we can't unload anytime soon. So you got to give him some kudos on that. You got to give Kyrie Irving some props on that, okay? So he went to Boston, joined forces with Kevin Durant. Everything sounded great. And then their time in Brooklyn, they got James Harden. He was on board with that. And now he's been in and out of the lineup. He's been injury prone. And now Kyrie Irving is taking a stand on the vaccine. Sean Marks, the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, is not too pleased with Kyrie Irving. He respects his decision, but secretly, behind closed doors, if you was a fly on the wall, he's not pleased with Kyrie Irving. But he knows if he says that publicly, how that affects his relationship with Kevin Durant. Now, he signed Kevin Durant in the offseason when he won his Olympic gold medal. And he signed Kevin Durant to an extension. They're hoping that they can sign James Harden to an extension. Otherwise, all that you gave up for James Harden, you done gave all that up plus James Harden in the offseason. So I know that's going to be their first priority is to sign James Harden. And I think they got one more year with Kyrie Irving or no. I felt like when the NBA season concludes this year, that it was a point where all three of these guys were going to be free agents. Okay, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. They got Kevin Durant locked and signed. They got him to an extension. They're working on an extension with James Harden, but they pulled their negotiation as far as an extension with Kyrie Irving because of his stance on not taking the vaccine. Now, they could spin this so many ways. Like, look, we had other priorities. You know, we respect Kyrie Irving's decision; it's his choice. But at the same time, we have a business to run, and we basically told Kyrie Irving we'll get back as far as signing an extension with you until we can get some type of conclusion to whether or not you have to take the vaccine, or if you're willing to take the vaccine, maybe the mandate's lifted, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So that's the dilemma with the Brooklyn Nets. I feel like a resolution is going to have to come quick, fast, and in a hurry with Kyrie Irving. Are we just going to keep continuing to stay and hope that Kyrie Irving comes back to the team? Maybe the mandate's lifted where Kyrie Irving doesn't have to take the vaccine, or with uh, the changes that's going on the government side of things in New York, maybe they can lift the mandate, or maybe they say, no, we're going to keep the mandate. I think that's good for New York citizens. We done lost a lot of people to COVID. Okay. Maybe Kyrie Irving comes to another conclusion that, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and take the vaccine because my teammates need me, and we can do a lot of great things with what we have on the roster. So there you have it. So yeah, that's my thought with the Brooklyn Nets. I feel like they lost to the Milwaukee Bucks, but and the Lakers lost to the Golden State Warriors. But at the end of the day, folks, the NBA season is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You really don't know what teams, and it was proven last year. A lot of people that were saying that it's going to be the Clippers year, the Lakers year. A lot of people were saying that it was going to be the Philadelphia 76ers year. It was going to be the Brooklyn Nets year. And there was a lot of sleepers. People call them sleepers. But the reason why they're sleepers because everyone from the beginning of that opening night was saying that these handful of teams are going to win a chip. And like I said, you can't go by this small sample size and then say to yourself, okay, this team's going to win it all. I feel like after the trade deadline, you get some sense of what direction each of these teams are going. Okay. And then you can just base your decision there. So yeah, that's opening night. That's my thoughts and opinions about opening night. Now let's talk about my review on the Titans, seasons 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So I knew about the Titans show when it first the first I when the idea first came, when DC was going to create a streaming service, and they was going to have a handful of shows from the DC universe make their way to their DC app streaming service. Now I don't know if DC still has a streaming service. They sort of merged with HBO Max, and you can watch Doom Patrol and the Titans on HBO Max, as well as all the other movies that's in the DC universe, like Aquaman, Justice League, Batman v Superman, Superman, the Joker. And the same streaming service is going to have the Batman that's going to be coming out next year, as well as the Flash. You'll still be able to indulge in the newer movies from the DC universe. But let's talk about the Titans season 1, 2, and 3. It took me a couple of weeks, but I finally went through all of the seasons, and I'm just going to say in retrospect of each season as we go along. So season 1, it was an introduction to all the characters. Okay. And that's what you get from season 1. Season 1 is mainly, okay, we're going to describe these characters to you, describe their strengths, describe their weaknesses, describe their origins, describe uh, how their origins link to the main plot of the story and ultimately the whole season. And it's pretty much of all these guys finding their way. Okay, so Dick Grayson done exit stage left from Batman. He done moved to Detroit, and he still wears the Robin costume, and Robin exists in Detroit. Now Dick Grayson plays a detective in he's a detective for Detroit. All right, and around in this same timeline, um Raven, you see the origin of Raven trying to, she thought she had a mother. Comes to find out that the mother that she was living with is not her real biological mother, and she's on a journey to find her real mother and find out who she is. Because she just didn't fit well. She knew she didn't fit well uh, with the lady who she thought that was her mother. She didn't blend well with in school. She couldn't make friends. Yada yada yada. Okay, she was pretty much an eyesore to them. Okay, and then you go. Beast Boy was introduced. Starfire was introduced. She was basically an assassin, um, and she couldn't remember her past, and she went on this journey to find out who the hell she is. Okay, because she has no clue of who she is or what she is. Okay, so therein lies her journey as well. They didn't do too much on Beast Boy, but he was just introduced. Okay, so when you look at all of these stories, you start looking at people either fighting their past, people that's running away from their past, people. And I felt like with Raven and Starfire, I felt like they did an injustice because they pretty much had the same similar path. They're not familiar about their past, and they're not familiar about who they are or what they are, and it just took them a long period of time to ultimately find out who are they and what are they. Okay, so I felt like they did an injustice with them because they pretty much had the same similar path. Okay, they had the same introduction. Okay, so and during this whole time, uh, they're trying to have a come together moment, and during this whole time, uh, their stories start to entwine with one another. All right, and the Raven had a premise about Robin, and she should go search for Robin in Detroit. Then she pairs up with Robin, and then Beast Boy was later paired up with Robin. And then Starfire found her way to Robin. I mean, the original cast, and yes, even Wonder Woman. I want to call her Wonder Woman. They call her Wonder Girl. Uh, and paired up with Robin. So Robin is like the Xavier of the X-Men, okay, with with the younger core, and that's when they start talking about they were the Titans. It was a point. There was a point in time where Robin, Wonder Girl, Hawk, and Dove. They was also in this season as well, where they were the original Titans, and something happened where they all broke up, and they didn't elaborate what happened when they were the Titans, the original OG Titans. All right. So you figure out later on in the season what transpires. Okay. So the first leg of this story, uh, you know, they're basically fighting the demons that's surrounding Raven, and somehow some way Raven finds her real biological mother. They went to this Catholic school, and these nuns isolated her from the rest of the world. They felt like they did a disservice to her by allowing her to run away with her mother. They said to themselves, you know what, that was wrong in our decision, but we're glad she's here. So now we're just going to lock her up in a room. She breaks out of that room. She reunites with her mother, and it feels so good. And comes to later find out that the mother was working, what was she didn't have the best interest of her daughter, and was using her daughter as a vessel to get her husband from another world, because she kept saying, Raven, you're the key. You're the key of getting your father home. And she conned her into getting her father out of the other demon world to save Beast Boy. And he did save Beast Boy. All right. But in return, he wanted to, after he saved Beast Boy, she started noticing his real purpose on this planet was to conquer this planet and make it a living nightmare. And the Raven's mother used her to pull her father out. And when she finds out her father is evil, there's really nothing she can do, because to her powers was nothing compared to her father's power. So the mother was using Raven to get the father. Now she's reunited with her husband, and the husband was really using her. All right. And later on, he killed Raven's biological mother. All right. Just snapped her neck. Okay. And he starts causing carnage in the world, and the Titans figured out a way to put him back into his universe. And Raven starting to figure out her powers. And then this was the introduction of Deathstroke. Okay, so Deathstroke was making the introduction like in the later points of season one, and then started the opening. No, he was in season one. So now they have a battle with Deathstroke, and then now the younger group starts to figure out why the OG Titans, you know, exit stage. They broke up. And they started doing flashbacks where Hawk and Dove, in this present flashback, were together, and they had an introduction on Hawk and Dove, how they became Hawk and Dove. I'm not going to go into full details about it, but in some of these flashbacks, Dick Grayson was Dove's girlfriend. I mean, boyfriend. So, in some scenes, some flashpoints, he was in a relationship with Dove, but in the present flashpoints, Hawk was Dove's boyfriend, and then explain why they became boyfriend and girlfriend. And I'm fast forwarding a lot of stuff. Season one was kind of complicated. They was trying to integrate a lot of stuff into season one. My personal opinion, they should have stretched season one's premise and ideals over a course and allow it to be season two and season three. But it was just too much stuff. Okay, way too much stuff. Okay, you got the origin of these guys, of the older Titans and the newer Titans. You got storylines of Raven. Then you got Deathstroke. Why the Titans broke up, and Deathstroke was the factor of why they broke up. Then you got Deathstroke's daughter. She's and her origin and her storyline and how she hates her father. Then you realize that Deathstroke had a son. Then you try to figure he had an origin, and he joined the Titans. And the thought was he died in battle, and that was the reason. And that's the reason why the Titans broke up. Plus, Dick Grayson was sort of playing his friends. He did not let them in on a lot of storylines and lied to them. And the distrust, they done lost Deathstroke's son at that particular time, and now they all broke up and they all went their separate ways. Hawk and Dove went on the deep end. Uh, you know, Robin, went back to Detroit, and the rest they say is history. And that explains why they broke up. Okay, and now Robin is now a teacher to Beast Boy, uh, more so to Beast Boy and Raven, and not Starfire. And Starfire still at that point of time was trying to figure out her way and figure out her past, okay, which that kind of led into season two. Uh, and they killed Deathstroke. Well, Deathstroke daughter killed Deathstroke, and Deathstroke was a vessel to his son because when his son died, his son had the ability to go into other people's bodies. He went into his father's body, hoping and thinking that his father would allow him to coexist in his body or find another host or what, yada, yada, yada. The father pretty much blocked him, and he was like a prisoner in his father's mind. So once they killed Deathstroke, he got out of his. He just went to heaven. Oh no, he went into. Oh, I'm sorry about that. He went in. His spirit went into his sister's body, and now they coexist. Okay, which I felt like that was kind of weird. All right, because at that particular time, Robin, which was the new Robin, was a replacement to the old Robin, had a relationship with the girl. And I thought that was kind of odd and weird. I don't think I even told you guys about Dick Grayson's replacement. And then, they go into the storylines and things of that nature. And Dick Grayson had daddy issues with Batman, Bruce Wayne. Uh, and he had a conversation with Bruce Wayne. Basically, Bruce Wayne wanted him to take his new Robin under his wing and teach him better than what he could possibly teach him. Okay. And we segue into season two. Season two was the introduction to Superboy and Crypto, and then they had a nemesis, this pharmaceutical company that was making a Superman in the lab. They crashed and burned a lot of times, and they made Superboy and Crypto. All right, and the origin about Superboy. He was half Superman, half Lex Luger. So he had the best of both of these men. All right. And even though he was an adult, he acted like a child at first, because he's been in a lab his most of his life. And one of the scientists broke him out, was explaining his origin, explaining where he really come from. And she was just helping him out because she realized that when she took this assignment, she wanted to prove people wrong. And then she found out later that what she did was a terrible disservice to Superboy. So she felt kind of tied up to him. All right. So the Nemesis wanted to they sent a lady, an assassin, to uh capture Superboy and Crypto. And then later on, he got introduced to the Titans. Superboy got introduced to the Titans, and then she shot Superboy with a kryptonite bullet, and Superboy survived. Uh, you know, from that by the Titans, and it just goes into this whole phase of them dismantling this pharmaceutical company, and their ideas of what they wanted to put in place on the world, which was make a weapon out of Beast Boy. They captured Beast Boy. They did experiments with Beast Boy. Now Beast Boy was this monster that they had under control, and then play music in his head, and then he becomes the tiger, and he just eats up and destroys everything. The things that Beast Boy uh hated to do, they you know they had him under control, and they made him into a monster, and he did not like it. They also controlled Superboy, and made him a weapon. And then they got into Raven got into Beast Boy. They also got into Superboy, and they somehow, whatever was planted in their brains no longer could work, and then they were free from the pharmaceutical company. And then a battle pursues, and they save everyone at this fair. Everything's all well and good until tragedy hit the Titans again, and Wonder Gal, died for saving a family from a falling Ferris wheel. She got electrocuted, and Hawk and Dove. Uh, it was just too much for them. It was just too much for everybody, and everybody was well, Hawk and Dove was rethinking what you know how they got created, and maybe uh, you know them together. Uh, they just caused way too much carnage in the world instead of way too much good, so they broke up. All right, they went their separate ways. uh, Robin, it was very hard on Dick Grayson. Robin, it was very hard for the younger core groups of the Titans, and everyone momentarily broke up from that stage. And then they got back together, and apparently Batman had done left Gotham because of the death of his new Robin. Which, by the way, that new Robin had a distrust with the Titans, so he went back to Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne was tutoring him, and he had a lead on the Joker. Bruce Wayne told him not to go, but he decided to go anyway to prove a point, because he was always trying to prove uh, uh, Bruce Wayne wrong about him, and ultimately he got killed by the Joker. Okay, you don't get to see the Joker, but the Joker's. You hear Joker laughing in the background. You see a figure taking a crowbar and beating up Robin with it. Everyone assumed that the new Robin died, and Gotham was in chaos. Batman done left. Okay, well, now Batman was so upset with the Joker, he went out and he found the Joker, killed the Joker, and you know, he just left Gotham, okay, because he was pretty much like a criminal on the run, I guess. And Barbara Gordon is she's the commissioner, and she's trying to restore justice. I mean, try to restore um, Gotham back, and she's having issues with the crime going up. Robin, I'm sorry, Nightwing went to which is Dick Grayson, went to Gotham and tried to restore order with them, brought the Titans with them, and the Titans are located in Gotham, and they're fighting the Riddler. I think the Riddler, the Riddler, Riddler. Man, my tongue is tongue tied. Man, maybe I'm tired or I don't know what's going on. So the Riddler, uh, they're fighting him, and he found the new Robin, made him oh my god, Red Hood, and now they're thinking Red Hood is just this new villain. Come to find out, Dick Grayson slash Nightwing broken his mask and found out that the new Robin was the Red Hood. Okay, so now he's the Red Hood, and now they're fighting against him as well as the Riddler. The Riddler told Robin how to make the new Robin how to make uh, uh, how to cure him from being because the new Robin had fear. So he was trying to eliminate the fear from him, and that's one of the reasons why Bruce Wayne thought by because he started realizing that he was treating him like his actual son, and he just didn't want to put his son uh, out there continue to be Robin, because he knew the days were counting down to where he was going to die in service, and he started treating him like a son. He said that's not good for you. But the new Robin thought that Bruce Wayne just thought that he was a terrible Robin. So now he had vengeance with Bruce Wayne, and he was upset with Bruce Wayne's decision. And he goes in this vendetta, joins up with the Riddler, and now they're starting to do chaos in the city. By this time, Starfire has a relationship with Superboy. They're fooling around with each other. Hawk and Dove was off again, on again, and the Red Hood conned Hawk into going alone to talk to him. Come to find out it was a trap. He put a bomb in Hawk's chest, and Superboy was trying to figure out a way to dismantle the bomb. And just when he finds a way to dismantle the bomb, he, with lightning speed, tries to, put it in Hawk's chest, but it's too late. He blows up, and the rest of this was just a train wreck. The rest of this is Hulk goes to heaven. He joins Supergirl in heaven, and one of the kids from Gotham who idolizes the Batman and Robin and Nightwing, he's a fan of them, a huge fan of them. Somehow he gets shot, and now he's in heaven with with Hulk and Supergirl, and they're trying to find their way back, try to find their way out of heaven. And they're stuck on a bridge, and Hulk sacrificed himself, so he continues to be in heaven. So the new guy and the son that was the boy that was a huge fan of the Titans and the Batman universe, and Wonder Girl I don't know why I keep saying Supergirl. Wonder Girl, they come back and now they're alive. And there was a point in time no one knew that they was alive. They go back to Gotham. He helped, and while Wonder Girl helps the fans' family to leave Gotham, okay, Dick Grayson died. Nightwing died by the Red Hood. Okay, the Riddler was listening to. Also, the Riddler was listening to some of Batman's memoirs about him, saying that he's not a real cold-blooded, calculated killer. All right, he's just an imitator, and he's only good. And the only thing what makes why I keep saying the Riddler? It was really the Scarecrow. Okay, I'm so sorry, guys. It was the Scarecrow. Okay, so he felt like the Scarecrow was not his best foe, and the Scarecrow went from bad to worse. And killed the piece of guy to prove a point to his mother and to Bruce Wayne. He scarred up his face, and now he done went rogue on the Red Hood. And now Dick Grayson slash Nightwing is no longer dead. He went into the Lazarus pool, and now he's alive. He joins up with the Red Hood, which was the new Robin, and they join forces to go off to battle Scarecrow. Meanwhile, Starfire lost her power, then had a premise on her past, and she finally got the final piece to her past, which took 3 whole entire seasons, by the way. Uh, she found out that actually her superpowers uh, were stolen. Her you know, Darkfire, her sister, her parents stole Darkfire power and gave it to Starfire. And Starfire had this new power because they thought she didn't have no power, but come to find out she has powers. But Darkfire has already done stolen Starfire's powers that was already stolen from the get-go. So in reality, Darkfire really didn't steal Starfire's power. She just got her power back. Okay, so she finds Darkfire and explains the situation, explains the story to her, and now Darkfire feels like she has something to prove to her city. She's really the queen of her city, and she's gonna go back to her planet and tell them this story how their own parents her own parents uh did this, and Starfire was going to join her. She said, "No, you don't have to join me. I'll tell my city." And Superboy was upset because they started building a relationship, and he didn't want his queen to leave the planet Earth, but she convinced him to make fuel for them, for her ship, so she can get back to her planet. Superboy says okay. He makes this fuel, puts it on the ship, and then the ship just explodes. And Starfire is telling Superboy to get down, but she looked at Starfire's face, and it looked like Starfire looked at Superboy's face, and it looked like Superboy was happy that the ship exploded, and he wanted the ship to explode. And that's the conclusion. They left it as a cliffhanger for season 3. So apparently they're gonna still on season 4. They're still in Gotham. They're gonna fight the Scarecrow, and they're gonna have new storylines. They're still in Gotham. They're trying to restore law and order in Gotham. Meanwhile, the dynamic between Superboy and Darkfire, now they were lovers. Now they're enemies. They may become enemies. Starfire may become enemies with Darkfire. So that's a triangle. That's a love triangle you don't want to be in. I talked about how Nightwing and Red Hood is going to go up against Scarecrow. I don't know why I keep calling him the Riddler. I had Riddler in my mind, but he's the Scarecrow. And other dynamics, other subplots, other story plots in season 4 that they're going to talk about as well. They showed a trailer of season 4 at DC Fandom. I did not watch it, but season 4 is going to be coming, and now you're fully caught up. I'm fully caught up on season 1, 2, 3, and 4. And ultimately, here's my opinion about all three. I felt like season 1 was drawn out way too much, just drawn out way too much. I wish they could have just gotten to the point of things, and a lot of stuff that they were talking about in season 1 fell into season 2. I felt like season 2 was a lot better than season 1, in my opinion. Season 3 was just it was just a hot mess. Season 3, there was just storylines that should have been over with. You would think something that you talked about in season 1 would end in season 1, or at least end on season 2. I felt like the Hawk and Dove dynamic was overplayed. Their origin, how they met, how they became crime fighters as lovers, and then they broke up. I just thought that was just overplayed, overextended. I didn't think Hawk and Dove was an intricate part of the story. They could have just eliminated that storyline, just left it on just left it on the floor. They should not even added it. I felt like the Starfire dynamic was that that storyline. Instead of having it in season 3, you should have had it in season 2. All right. But I see why they had that storyline, because of Superboy. And they wanted to show the growth and development of Superboy, that he's in a relationship, that Superboy is not like a little kid no more. He's in a real relationship with Darkfire. I just felt like a lot of this stuff was oversaturated. And I see why I was hesitant of watching the Titans. I knew about the Titans, and the reason why I didn't want to watch it 3 or 4 years ago was I wasn't a real Titan fan. I wasn't a real Teen Titans fan, and I felt like over the course of years of the Teen Titans, they made them into an anime show. They reduced the Teen Titans. Just in the comics, the Titans, they were really known for the Titans. They were the younger version of the Justice League. Okay, and they also talk and they explain how Aqualad died in season 2 or season 1. I done lost my train of thought, but you see, a lot of the storylines were stories from season 1. Okay, and I understand here we are in season 3, and we're still talking about storylines from season 1, and they had a whole lot of loose ends that they should have severed at least midway through season 2, and just keep it fresh and keep it pushing and keep it going. And I wasn't a huge fan, and like I said earlier, I wasn't a real huge. I was a huge fan of the Titans in the comics, but when they transcended it from the comics to a Cartoon Network, and yeah, even this show is really not representing the Titans that I knew of in the comics. And I felt like another thing. I thought that I wasn't gonna be happy with the Titans, and I knew I wasn't gonna be happy with them. That's why I wasn't in a rush to watch these seasons anyway. And I watched all 3 of them in a span of a couple of weeks. The cyborg angle, and I felt like that's even though in Justice League, Cyborg was cool at that moment. Still, I felt like Cyborg should have been. He was more famous for the Titans and less for the Justice League. Okay, I understood why they went the direction of putting Cyborg with the Justice League. In the comics, at one point he was with the Justice League when he grew up, but to me, he's more known for being with the Titans. Okay. Uh, and I just felt like, they, they should have, had, you never know. They may have Cyborg with the Titans in season 4, but it was just weird from the word go. Now they probably said to themselves, okay, we're gonna have in 3 years have uh have Nightwing. We're gonna also have Wonder Girl. We're also gonna have Starlight. Uh, uh, yeah, Starfire, and then we're also going to have Superboy. And now you want to put Cyborg into that mix? That they would have been too powerful at that point of time. So I understand why they was. Now I don't. Then the Beast Boy angle, introducing Beast Boy into this world, I thought that was a plus. Raven, because Raven is a founding member of the Titans. I understand why she was there. I understand why Beast Boy was there. I have no issues with those two picks. Wonder Girl, I have no issue with that. I have no issue with Nightwing. It just feels like, something was off about it these 3 seasons. I was not impressed nor happy with the Titans. And, it is what it is. I mean, uh, I felt like it's not the characters that what made this thing. I wasn't too happy about this show. It was the storyline. I felt like there was a lot of. I think they just oversaturated way too much on some of these storylines. I think a lot of these storylines should have ended a couple of seasons ago. I felt like the Hulk and Dove dynamic. Yeah, if you want to do an introduction on them, fine. But then after you get the introduction on why they were Hulk and Dove, the original Hulk and Dove, not Hulk when he was with his brother. And they showed a dynamic when Hulk and Dove started as the guy and his brother. It wasn't even his biological, his adopted brother. Uh, they explained his storyline and both their storylines. And I'm about to prove a point. They and then they talked about a lot of important real world factors when you're kids, and how the coach assaulted one of them. I felt like they talked about a lot of important factors on that. Um, but and they ended that storyline so fast, and how his brother died in a car wreck with the new Dove's mother. She also died. A car was running all out of control off the road, hits his brother and hits the new Dove's mother, and now she's the new Dove. I mean, that shouldn't even we shouldn't even be talking about that. Just talk about Hawk and Dove, how they they could have done a quick storyline on why they became Hawk and Dove and just talked about it, but to actually let it transpire in these seasons, I think, and I believe this was season 2, I believe. Uh, it was just overplayed. It had no real importance to any of the plot lines or even the main story. Okay, so yeah, that was oversaturated. I felt like the Dick Grayson aspect with Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne storyline was decent. And because he's the main character, and the new Robin, how he's trying to prove to Bruce Wayne that he's a better Robin than Dick Grayson. I like that dynamic. They talk about the origin of the OG Robin, Dick Grayson, and his family. And then in season 3, Dick Grayson comes in a dream, finally meets his real father and says he's sorry. And his father said, "Everything's fine, son," and then walked off. I felt like That was a closing moment. And then this girl with a red balloon says dad to Dick Grayson. I feel like Dick Grayson is going to have a child in season 4. And I think he done gotten Starfire pregnant. Okay. Now, that's just my opinion. I could be totally off or totally wrong about this. Okay. And what else? But he just got into. I mean, he had sex with Barbara Gordon. He also had sex with Wonder Girl. He also had sex with Dove. So basically, Dick Grayson is another Bruce Wayne who, you know, he's a playboy. He's a player. Even though he'll probably say I'm not a player, I just crush a lot. And now he has a child. I think now they're going to, in season 4, transition Dick Grayson from a bachelor to someone who has responsibilities. I don't Now, if he did get Starfire pregnant, or going to get Starfire pregnant in season 4, I don't think they're going to be I don't think that's going to be his wife from here on out. I think he's going to be co-parent with Starfire, and and like I said, I'm not 100% sure Starfire is going to be the baby mama. All right, but it was a black girl holding a red balloon, looking at Dick Grayson in his dreams, saying, "Daddy." So that could mean anything. All right, or maybe they'll introduce a new character who happens to be black. Maybe Catwoman or Catgirl. Well, not Catwoman, but a Catgirl. Even though, so there's a lot of dynamics that we haven't even scratched the surface about possible season 4 plot lines and things of that nature. But ultimately, what I thought about all 3 of these seasons, I'm kind of glad I waited to watch all 3 of these seasons. I'm not sure I'm going to watch season 4, because season 1, 2, and 3 didn't leave me wanting more. And the reason why I watched all 3 seasons, because I wanted, I was committed in season 1 to watch this train ultimately make a stop. Okay. We had a couple of stops along the way, but we didn't reach our final destination. Even through 3 seasons, we still haven't, reached our final destination. Now, in a lot of series, a lot of television shows, they'll spend a whole season on one plot line, and then they'll just move on to another whole new story that has nothing in common from last season. But with the Titans, I noticed how all 3 seasons are together. They're the same storylines. So the writing and the direction, they should have ended a lot of these storylines a couple of seasons back. All right. I think they oversaturated a lot of seasons that they didn't necessarily need to to uh continue the story on. Now the villains, they introduced Deathstroke, they introduced Raven's father, they introduced the pharmaceutical company that was trying to capture Superboy and Crypto. They introduced the Scarecrow in Gotham, the Red Hood. I feel like they introduced a lot of different characters from a lot of perspectives from the DC universe. I like the dynamic, the nuances on how they did that. I like the cast, the character, the heroic characters. I like where they was going with that. I'm not hating on the heroes that they had during all 3 of these seasons. I kind of wish, hopefully, this happens in season 4 where Cyborg is introduced. Okay. I hope that dynamic happens. All right. And I hope they don't do anything weird with Cyborg like they have done with previous characters, and look, this is going to sound insensitive, but uh I feel like the origin of a lot of these heroes, and this could be from, and this is, and what I'm saying, this can be used for the Marvel universe as well as the DC universe. I feel like y'all should keep these characters original from the comic book world. All right. I know everyone wants to bring these characters in today's world, and then these characters have uh, things that we deal with in the real world. Uh, and try to make them somewhat believable in the real world. I understand y'all want to make these characters. You want to use these characters as symbols of what you love or what you hate that's going on or that's affecting us in the real world. You know, their political stance, their race stance, who they see themselves as, lesbian or gay or whatever. I feel like, these characters should remain the same characters that they are in the comics. Now, yes, comics has changed. A lot of these story dynamics has changed in the comic book world. A couple of days ago, I think it was last week, uh, they was talking about Superman kissing another man. I don't see no issues with that. How if that's the continuing storyline in today's comics, that's fine. But a lot of this has to do with and when I say we, I'm including myself in this. We just have to grow with the times. Okay, these are new times, and we have to have an open mind on a lot of these storylines and a lot of these. Hold on one second. I feel like myself, we have, including myself, I feel like we have to remain open and remain neutral and have an open mind to what's been going on. I mean, uh, how these characters are evolving in front of our eyes. And I feel like we should have an open mind to that, including myself. So if a writer or a director wants to use a character from the DC or Marvel universe and use them as a symbol of hope as far as you know showing the lesbian community or the gay community or the LBCQ community or a different nationality or a different gender community. That's fine and dandy, as if we just have to have an open mind for that, and that includes me. But back on the Titans, um I just don't see myself committing to season 4. Okay, even though I want to see Cyborg make an introduction in season 4, even though I want to not only see Cyborg in season 4, but explain the dream that Robin had. Does Robin has a daughter? I mean, you already done predicted it. I mean, you already done told it in season 3. I want to, there are some storylines I want to know the answer to, but a lot of those storylines I could easily find out, on the interwebs or find out on YouTube. But I don't feel like I'm committed watching full shows to figure out where they're going with this. I also want to figure out the Red Hood dynamic. Is because he was a villain in season 3, and now he's joining forces with Nightwing to restore order in Gotham. How that plays out, maybe they kill off the Red Hood, or maybe we think the Red Hood's dead, but he still, killed some people. So how that story plays out, I don't know. Uh, even though Red Hood said, "Well, can I join the Titans?" And then, Dick Grayson said, "No, you're not going to join the Titans." Okay, uh, and whatever happened to Deathstroke's daughter? She was in a relationship with uh, the new Batman, aka Red Hood, and now he's with another girl in Gotham. So what they never talked about what happened there. Now, yes, they broke up. He left her, okay, but everybody leaves everybody in that universe, but they never went to that storyline. But see, notice the thing, like, notice how they just stopped talking about that storyline. They just ended it right there, where the new Robin said screw you and just left her because she wanted to join the Titans. All right, so notice how that dynamic, they just ended it right there. They're not talking about it no more. But the Hawk and Dove dynamic, I felt like that was oversaturated, and that played out all the way through, and there was a whole lot of time where that storyline should not even be talked about, about them, moving on and going back to Washington, some small town in Washington, and they was at some karaoke bar, and they're having fun. They're getting back to having fun again, and one of the somebody that they killed, someone who dealt drugs with, who was dealing drugs, they killed him, and now the sister has a vendetta with Hawk and Dove. They didn't even explain that, but it just ended it right there. There's a lot of storylines that you say to yourself, oh, "Okay, I'm so glad they're not going to have a continuation on that," because I think there's some storylines are not important. I feel like Hawk and Dove storyline was not important. Okay, it just added way too much to this. Okay, making it a confusing situation even more confusing. So yeah, that's all I got on the Titans. On as far as a thumbs up and a thumbs down, um, I could have hold off and not watched this. And man, I haven't even seen Black Widow yet. That's out on Disney Plus. Hopefully, I get into it this weekend. There's some other shows on Netflix I was going to try to check out, but I've seen enough of the Titans. I've seen enough of the Titans. So yeah, I'm. That's pretty much all that I have today. I did not know that this was going to. I was going to continue talking about this, but there's a whole lot of topics that um, I tried to cover, but I was just talking way too much about certain topics. Okay, um, it is what it is. But yeah, hold on one second. Okay, so some quick topics. The DJ Metcalf and Shannon Sharp situation. I talked about it in a video yesterday on Just My Opinion YouTube channel. Go check that out if you're interested. I gave you my thoughts and opinions about that. I felt like DJ Metcalf and Shannon Sharp. I feel like both of those guys were wrong. Uh, and I did a video on it, and a lot of there was a guy who loved my content, but I don't think he fully understand where I was coming from with that particular video, and I said that uh, you know you play to win the game. Basically, when you play sports, competitive sports, you play to win. You don't play to mentally. A lot of these athletes are aware that you have to take risk and chances if you want to win a game. Sometimes just playing it safe is just not good enough. And there have been plenty of of, of examples of how playing it safe don't necessarily mean that ultimately you're going to get the W. Uh, yeah, should he not went for the touchdown and just played it safe and ran it in bounds? Just caught it and ran in bounds? Yes. You, if we're armchair quarterbacking and after the play is already done, we can all easily said, yeah, he should have just done that. But what if he would have done that and then the very next play they get it picked off or it gets fumbled? Okay, then what happens? All right, then we'll all be complaining that damn, DJ Metcalf should have just punched it in and gotten a touchdown. All right, I have seen this transpire in so many different examples. Uh, People seem to forget when the Seattle Seahawks were in Super Bowl and they were playing against the New England Patriots. They got it to the goal line, and everyone, they had three opportunities to get a touchdown, and they didn't. And they tried play action pass, and they failed when they should have just the first chance they should have gotten was. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. So just to make this quick, look, sports is all about risk and chances, okay, to get the ultimate reward. All right. And I felt like Shannon Sharp, yes, it's easy at the end of the day to say, well, you shouldn't play hero ball, okay? Because if it's easy to say that when we see the result, all right? But what if he would have gotten the touchdown, okay, or gotten close to the touchdown? Gotten them even closer to get a touchdown, and then they didn't get the touchdown. Okay, so yeah, I understand what Shannon Sharp is saying, but in that particular moment, you only have a fraction. You only have a fraction of time to think to yourself, what shall I do? Because the majority of us would try to punch it in because we may not get another opportunity to do this again. And history have shown in a lot of games, a lot of teams get close but no cigar. So yes, I understand where Shannon Sharp said you shouldn't play hero ball. Okay, well, you know, hindsight being 2020 and the game's already over with, yeah, we can all say that. Okay. But at the same time, it's easy to sit back in your chair and say, well, you shouldn't have done that. You should have done this and this, that, and the third. And two, I felt like Shannon Sharp also knew what he was doing. Even though he didn't tweeted it directly to DJ Metcalf, he did put DK in there because he knew that his Dominions was going to send it to DJ Metcalf's account, or DJ Metcalf's Dominion send it to him, and then now you got this back and forth going on. And this ain't the first time Shannon Sharp has done this. He has done this to Kevin Durant. He has done this to a lot. You know, Shannon Sharp, he may be great on social media, but he's starting to become a troll on social media. And I feel like Shannon Sharp put too much emphasis on social media and not a lot of emphasis on his job as being with Fox Sports 1. Remember, uh they still have not he still not has signed an extension with Fox Sports 1. I felt like there's a lot of, and I feel like ultimately this back and forth on Twitter, it ultimately you can't apply none of this to real world factors, which is your show and which is anything else. So yeah, that's all I got to say on that. I wish I could say further, but go check out the video. The whole video is there. You guys can check that out. I got to really go. Thank you guys for listening to this, and I will see you guys on the next one. It's your boy, the host with the most. I'm up out of here. Deuces.